Hello, everyone. We're here today in my closet to do a tarot oracle reading for the Clarity line in relation to the Dark Goddess. My altar to the Dark Goddess is in my closet because it's like a cave in here. You can really just sit and reflect with no outside noise about whatever it is that's going on in your life that you're having trouble with, and you can connect to your inner self and also to higher guidance. I originally learned this when I did a darkness retreat. I did it 24 hours in the dark. And then I went back and did almost 72 hours in the dark at the same retreat space. I got bit by a brown recluse before I went into the 72-hour immersion, and so I did have to leave early because I was in so much pain and I couldn't tell what was going on with my leg, and it was burning, and it was a good thing I left early because that actually turned out to be really bad. And that was part of my initiation into the dark goddess Hecate, who is the goddess of witchcraft. I didn't know who she was at the time, but when I was in the darkness retreat, her name just like popped in my head, Hecate. And another presence came to my awareness as well. It was Samael. I thought he was saying Shamuel because that's an archangel that I had heard of, but it was Samael specifically. And the song Daylight popped in my head as well, which was about drinking poison. And that is the essence of the Samael entity, is that you learn about yourself and about how you're disconnected from God through ingesting poison. In my case, it was a version of poison that was tainted love. So the love in a connection exists, but so does other toxic things like control and chaos. And so it's not actually a pure version of love when it is tainted by something else. Tainted Love, Marilyn Manson, one of my songs. So all that to say, the Dark Goddess has become a deep part of my journey, and she has taught me a lot about going within for guidance, a lot about so many things, which I want to share with you all through this journey. But all that to say, this is why I have an altar to Hecate in my closet. It's also, generally to the Dark Goddess in general, which takes many forms and shapes, like Lilith and Santa Muerte, and a couple actually other goddesses that I pulled in the tarot spread for you all. I'll show you in here just a second. So here is my altar to Hecate. I also have Lilith here, but I gave Hecate some red wine. She loves red wine, in a spider wine glass that my friend Kelsey gave me, and then also a little waffle cookie that Elisa gave me, my hair lady. She's awesome. She named a daughter after a dark goddess, so hope she's watching right now. But so that's my offering to the Dark Goddess this evening for our tarot reading. Don't mind my messy dresser. These are our bubble baths that are charging under the altar of the Dark Goddess. Those are going to end up being sent to all of you. And here is the tarot oracle spread that I pulled for us tonight. So the first card that I pulled was the Cave. And this is incubation. And that's exactly what I was referring to with what I did in the darkness retreat. And then also just in general, it is super helpful as women to enforce self-care rituals for ourselves where we have uninterrupted time to connect with our higher guidance. This is really of service to not only ourselves, but our partners, our children, our families, and the world around us. If we can carve out time to connect to ourselves and to the truth, we can be better examples of feminine energy in society. And so that's what I'm really picking up on from this card. And also just you know, shout out to myself for going to my closet sometimes. Like, as weird as that is, I'm letting you guys in on my inner life here. But that has been super helpful for me to just block out the noise and connect to myself in darkness, also, or with a candle inside of the closet. Super shortcut way to enforce me time. No one's going to bother you if you're in the closet, right? The second card I pulled was Dionysus, and it is ecstasy. I'll give you a little close up here. The message was pretty loud and clear. It's like, don't be afraid to be your authentic self, no matter where that leads you, and to follow your truth and to shine bright. And along with that, actually, was Brigid inspiration. She is a Celtic goddess. She sometimes appears as a snake. She's associated with healing and blacksmithing and things like that. And her message was to follow what feels good to you, because we each have a unique expression here on earth, and it's our mission, if anything is our mission, is to fully express our innate desires while we're here, because that's why we're here, is to manifest and to experience physical reality. And so in order to fully experience that, you have to live your own divine truth in whatever expression feels authentic to us. The other card I pulled from Hecate's oracle deck was sacrifice. And the message here is to pay attention to what relationships you have, and to ensure that those relationships and connections are reciprocal. And that doesn't have to be like, you know, tit for tat, like taking tally of things. But the example that she brought to mind was, you know, when I come to the Dark Goddess, or Hecate specifically, for guidance, I bring an offering. I bring wine and waffles, and I have an altar for her specifically set up in the environment that I know that she appreciates, which is the cave, in my closet. And my closet, bonus points, I have like a bulletproof door on it. It's like a tornado shelter, so it is a cave as fuck. If I could have the light off, I would. I'll do that next time and light a candle. And then the last card from the Dark Goddess was Pele, passion. She's the goddess of volcanoes in Hawaii. She created the volcanoes from her passion inside of her, which is your own inner fire. So pay attention to what lights your inner fire. Can be for destruction, or it can be for creation. It depends on how you channel it and how conscious you are of it. So that's our message from the Dark Goddess. I will be back with our message from the other side of the triangle in just a few. All right, everyone, we're back. It's daytime now. I'm here at my altar for the Light Goddess, and I have our bath salts here charging. I'll talk a little bit about this altar and kind of what's on it, because it's important. But our Clarity line is made up of frankincense, geranium, and lavender. And the thought behind that is frankincense is for our womb space. Geranium is for our heart space. Next to these, I have this sparkly syrup that my sister gave me for Christmas, because when I was little, I loved syrup. I actually hid the syrup bottle under my bed and drank out of it when I was anxious. Which, that's for another story. But geranium is pink, and I have it next to this rose quartz, which belongs to my friend Jules. So that's going to go back to her all charged up. And then right here, I have this dolphin that was given to me by my ex-boyfriend. And then for lavender, that is our third eye / crown chakra. So I have it next to the amethyst. And then I have a little orange here because it's winter, and this is the Sacred Garden Apothecary line, which was actually inspired by both of my grandmothers, actually. But I have my book about my grandmother on my father's side here, and the name of the apothecary, the Sacred Garden, is a kind of a spinoff of the Secret Garden, which my other grandmother on my mother's side bought me that movie when I was 3, and I watched it over and over and over and over again. And so that's kind of what inspired this whole apothecary line. And both of them are really in touch with gardens and nature and planting. And so I feel like that is alive in me as well. And I'm working more with that now. I also have this Ritual Blue Lotus oil, which I highly, highly recommend. This is what I use to consecrate our rose petals that go in the bath salts and in the other items in the apothecary line. And it's just super magical stuff. It was used in ancient Egypt during their rites that they performed during like funerals and marriages and things like that, ceremonies. And then I also have back here we believe a real papyrus display of Isis, who was given to me by my friend Brittany. I love it so much. And yeah, I have a special affinity for the goddess Isis, which I'll explain at some point. But the goddesses that we're working with for the Clarity line are Lakshmi, who I have here. She is the goddess of luck and good fortune. And her message is essentially that there's always an endless flow of opportunities available to us. And this kind of goes along with the book that I'm reading right now, Ask and It Is Given. And the theory in that book is essentially, it's Abraham Hicks, if you haven't heard of her. And their theory is that there's just this ever-flowing, endless flow of potential and opportunity. And what we're doing here in our embodied selves is either restricting ourselves from receiving that flow or being open to that flow, right? And so we can be open to it in certain ways and maybe closed off in other ways. But the more that we open ourselves up to be in alignment with that never-ending flow, the more opportunities and, fortune essentially have the opportunity to just come to us. All we have to do is release our resistance to that. And then over here we have, Saraswati. And she has a very similar message, but it's more about the endless flow of knowledge and creativity that we can open ourselves up to. So a lot of you are probably creative and musical. And so that is her message, is to take time to set aside to open up to creativity. And, like maybe if you're playing a musical instrument, rather than playing a song that you always play, just opening up to play whatever comes through your heart. And also to seek knowledge and of course, like practice your craft. And that's how we can get in touch with that endless flow of opportunity. So these are fantastic messages for us today. And I hope you all can see the intention that I put into creating this gift for you all, because it is just like straight from my heart. And I hope that it is received. So I'll be back with another message from the middle way. Okay, so now we're here to talk about the middle way. First of all, I just want to express like the dark goddess can be like a little bit scary or intimidating, but it's really not meant to be that way. It's really just kind of an expression of our ability to do shadow work and to sit with the uncomfortable things that we experience in life, whether that be, painful like emotions or experiences that we have to deal with. We all have to deal with super painful experiences during life. And so the dark goddess just represents the shadow work that we do behind closed doors, essentially. And that's a part of this apothecary line, because in order to fully heal, we have to integrate all parts of ourselves, not just the love and light, which, we all love the love and light, and that's super helpful and can pull us out of the dark spaces that we have to endure throughout our lives. But the middle path is my favorite personally. And the middle path, I think, is best embodied by the energy of Jesus Christ, and also Mary Magdalene, whose existence has been suppressed quite a bit. But Jesus, you know, he sat with the lepers and the prostitutes, and he flipped over the tax tables in the temple. Like, Jesus wasn't just all love and light. He embodied the integration of the whole self. And Mary Magdalene has become super near and dear to me, because what she did was silenced. Like, we don't have a full understanding of the role that she played during this point in time, because of the suppression of the feminine that has gone on for years and years and years. And that's part of kind of my mission here, is to reawaken the feminine within all of us by attuning to nature and the moon and things like this, but also just learning more about ancient goddesses and Mary Magdalene. So after Jesus was crucified and he was put inside of the tomb, Mary Magdalene was the first one to find him resurrected. And part of her role during that period of time, a lot of people believe that she was his divine sacred counterpart, as in like romantic lover, which I personally believe. You know, you don't have to believe what I believe, but she, after the crucifixion, anointed his body with sacred oils. And that's why I consecrate our rose petals with the blue lotus oil, because consecration is the process of reintegrating broken pieces back together and healing them. And I personally believe that that was a part of Jesus's resurrection. And there are other, you know, two angels in the tomb, which is ironic, because when I went into my own tomb, I was visited by two, you know, spirits. So anyway, all that to say, the middle path is the way. It's kind of hard to express, but it is a transmission that you can pick up on, and it comes from being fully accepting of whatever present circumstance that you find yourself in, and fully accepting of the truth of that circumstance. And so anyway, I have our reading here, and this reading is in my kitchen, because that is the place where I create, and it's kind of like a middle zone of the house. So I have our moon water rose petals. I have these rose petals actually were exactly what inspired the Apothecary line. My ex-boyfriend got me these beautiful hot pink roses a couple weeks before we broke up, and after we broke up, they started to wither and die. And so I took the rose petals and I put the blue lotus oil on them, and I preserved them. And I kind of just like transformed my own grief into creation, because that's all I really knew how to do. At the time, I didn't have anywhere to put it. So I just chose to channel that into creation. I also have our fragrance oil that will go into our candles. It's coconut. And my Mary Magdalene Rose Oracle and my Isis Oracle. And Isis is awesome because she also represents integration. A very similar story to Mary Magdalene. She was partnered with Osiris, and Osiris was killed by his jealous brother Set, and his broken body parts were scattered all around the world. And Isis, in devotion to her partner Osiris, went around the world and gathered up all of his broken pieces and put them back together. And so that was also a story of consecration, and Isis represents the unification between the underworld and the upper world. And Isis has to live in the upper world with her son Horus, and Osiris remains the ruler of the underworld. And so that's just another example of the concept of consecration and unification of our broken pieces. And so the messages that we have, number one, for the Mary Magdalene Oracle, is erotic power. That's not what I expected to come out. Bear with me. But this is just pointing our attention to where we might be dimming ourselves and avoiding stepping into our full feminine expression. And so paying attention to the ways in which we dim ourselves. And as women, I think this goes along with this message, we have been conditioned
to feel ashamed of ourselves, to feel ashamed of our bodies, to hide our bodies, to make people feel more comfortable, and to hide our authentic expression at times because it might, you know, trigger someone, or whatever the case may be. But this feminine suppression goes deep. And while I'm not saying like we should all go run around naked outside, I'm just saying we can be in touch with ourselves and know when we're doing that, and just becoming more aware and in tune of where we might be not allowing our light to shine. Because when we do that, we are cutting off that endless flow of opportunity and good feeling and expression of our true selves. And this message from Isis goes right with that, goddess of 10,000 names. So this is basically saying there's endless expressions of ourselves in reality, endless names. Like I call myself, or I am, you know, a mother, I am a lawyer, I am Lindsay. But beyond those names, there's other expressions, one of which I'm showing you guys right now. And, you know, it's risky and scary to do that sometimes, but to show the world another expression of our true self can be scary, but it's also pretty fun and awesome to be able to just let go of certain identities that we've revolved ourselves around. Like as our children grow up and they don't need us so much anymore, I'm getting back in touch with personally, like, who was I as a kid? Like I loved to just like create and be in nature and mix up potions and stuff like that. So that's what I'm freaking doing. And I just want to, you know, promote that amongst my sisters. And yeah, so that's our reading for the middle path. And I hope if any of this rubs any of you the wrong way, like take it or leave it totally. It's none of my business what you do with it, but it is here for you if you feel it. So thank you so much for just receiving my love, and please let me know how this landed with you.